He wasn't supposed to change history, he was supposed to follow it. When Amenhotep IV ascended to the throne of Egypt around 1353 BCE, he inherited an empire at its peak, rich, powerful, and stable. The gods of Egypt had ruled for thousands of years, and the priests of Amun controlled as much wealth as the pharaoh himself. But something inside him rebelled against that world, and what he did next would shock his people, outrage his priests, and nearly erase him from existence. Amenhotep IV renamed himself Akhenaten, meaning effective for Aten. Aten, not Amun, not Osiris, not Ra, but a single divine force, the visible sun itself. He declared that all the old gods were false, and that only Aten was real. In a culture built on hundreds of gods and sacred rituals, this wasn't a reform, it was a revolution. Akhenaten ordered the closure of temples across Egypt. He redirected their wealth to his new cult of Aten. The priests who had dominated Egypt's politics suddenly lost their power overnight. He moved the capital away from Thebes, the center of Amun's worship, and built an entirely new city, Akhenaten, meaning the horizon of Aten. It rose from the desert in a few short years, a city of blinding white limestone, temples open to the sky, designed so sunlight could touch every altar. Akhenaten wanted no darkness, no mystery, just the light of Aten. And in this city, the art changed. Gone were the rigid, godlike pharaohs of the past. Instead, Akhenaten was shown with a long face, narrow eyes, wide hips, a strangely androgynous figure. He was depicted kissing his wife, Queen Nefertiti, playing with his daughters, laughing beneath the rays of the sun. For the first time in Egyptian art, the royal family looked human. Historians still debate why Akhenaten did it. Some say he truly believed in a single god, that he was the world's first monotheist, centuries before Moses or Jesus. Others believe it was political, a way to strip power from the Amun priesthood and centralize authority under himself. But as his reign went on, the cracks began to show. The economy faltered. Foreign enemies took advantage of Egypt's religious chaos, and the people, forced to abandon their gods, began to whisper rebellion. Akhenaten, once seen as divine, became isolated in his desert city, surrounded by loyalists and zealots who worshipped only him and Aten. After 17 years on the throne, Akhenaten vanished from history. No record describes his death. His successors tried to bury his memory, literally. His capital was abandoned, his statues smashed, his name carved out of temple walls. Even his own son, the boy king Tutankhamun, was forced to restore the old gods to gain the people's trust. Akhenaten became a ghost, a pharaoh erased by his own revolution. For centuries, no one spoke his name. Then, in the 19th century, archaeologists unearthed the ruins of his city. They found inscriptions praising Aten, artwork unlike anything else in Egypt, and fragments of hymns describing a single, universal God who gave life to all. One hymn in particular, the Great Hymn to the Aten, bears striking resemblance to Psalm 104 in the Bible, two poems written centuries apart, both praising one creator who gives light and life. Coincidence or connection? Today, Akhenaten is remembered not just as a heretic, but as a visionary. A pharaoh who glimpsed an idea far ahead of his time, a world where the divine wasn't hidden behind statues and temples, but shining in the open sky. He tried to rewrite faith itself, and paid for it with oblivion. Akhenaten's revolution failed. But his idea that there is one divine source behind everything survived. It lived on in whispers, scriptures, and faiths that would come long after him. He was the pharaoh who tried to erase the gods, and in doing so became one of history's greatest mysteries.